Welcome back, everybody. My name's Tommy McCarthy, and this is Let's Talk Cyber, and I am delighted to have my very good friend, Sandip Patel, KC King's Counsellor. Sandip, welcome once again to Let's Talk Cyber, sir.
Good morning, Tommy. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Wonderful, and I think I should still say Happy New Year, because we haven't seen you since the start of the New Year, so Happy New Year to you. I hope it's all well.
All magnificent, thank you, and a belated Happy New Year to you as well.
Wonderful. Well, listen, Sandip, we are kickstarting 2025 with some predictions, and we've got some exceptionally notable subject matter experts that we're speaking to today and tomorrow. Before I ask you a little bit about your opinions of what we can expect, why don't you give me some insights as to what you saw in the cyber industry last year? What were the things that were resonating, Sandip, in relation to what was going on? What were the concerns of people you were speaking to about what went on in cyber last year in the UK?
Of course, Tommy. Every conversation like this starts with AI, does it not? Now, in 2023, there was the wow factor with AI, with the introduction of ChatGPT, which caught everyone by surprise, including OpenAI, as to how the uptake. And so 2024 was, I think, organizations and people asking how do I implement AI? I think that was the year. And there were some major events, I think, in there. And I think 2025 will be now. Now is the time to implement AI. And what we saw in the last year was the intersection of AI and cybersecurity with some significant events. I'll just mention a couple, if I may, Tommy.
Please do.
Because we saw the sharp rise in AI-driven scams. There's a scam every 10 seconds in the UK, and AI, in one way or another, is behind that. But what we saw was AI-generated phishing scams targeting executives. We saw a marked increase in that, did we not, with sophisticated phishing attacks utilizing AI. And so organizations are now investing heavily in AI-driven defenses, such as anomaly detection and real-time threat analysis to combat those threats. What we also saw was deep fake operation against people. So, for example, there was the case of the American senator, Ben Cardin, where AI-generated video and audio impersonated a known Ukrainian official. Do you remember that during the video call?
I do.
And it just indicated the operation's sophistication and the growing threats of AI-enabled impersonation in political spheres. And governments and cybersecurity firms are developing AI tools capable of detecting deepfakes by analyzing metadata, voice patterns, and visual inconsistencies. But I was really surprised by the authenticity and sophistication of that. And of course, we've got AI-driven disinformation campaigns by state actors. So, for example, Russia employed generative AI to enhance its disinformation efforts against Ukraine. And it's becoming more complex and harder to detect false narratives on social media platforms. So the likes of Meta, etc., have got to pick up the game because these are continuous challenges. So these are just some of the incidents which illustrate the dual-edged nature of AI and cybersecurity, serving both as a tool for defense and weapon for malicious activities.
Well, Sandip, let me assure you 100% categorically, this is not AI generated, okay? This is the real thing. You're absolutely right, Sandip, and it's been on the lips of everybody so far that we've spoken to this year that AI will definitely bring a lot of challenges, should I say, but also create a lot of opportunities for improving the way your organization operates more effectively by utilizing AI. I guess one of the things that we're seeing coming out of the introduction to AI before we get onto your predictions is regulation and compliance around AI. How do you believe, Sandip, that's going to impact the business community generally when we look at regulation?
Tommy, that's a huge question. And it's very much up in the air because it all comes from the White House now at the moment with the new president. And so it is said that the US innovates and Europe regulates.
Yeah.
And I'm a strong believer in that because if you look at all the tech companies, they're based in America by and large, especially AI. There are some competitors in Europe, are very minuscule. And so what Europe has done, rather like follow the GDPR and the Brussels effect, You say, well, if we can't innovate, we'll regulate. And the introduction of the EU AI Act. And we saw some activity in 2024 in relation to that. My view is that the EU, European Union, is going to have to change tack. Already we've seen soundings of that, because the EU said that they're going to reassess their approach to investigations in relation to the US social media platforms.
Oh, yes.
So because they realize that they can't just keep investigating and imposing massive fines, because the White House is going to say, well, okay, look, we're not going to play ball. We're going to introduce tariffs or some sort of sanctions against the EU if you do that. And so they're reassessing their approach to investigations. And I think the EU will retreat from their previous rather strict agenda. So in relation to privacy concerns, I think there's going to be a pushback on that.
So then, go on, Sandip, please.
No. So I was just going to add, where does the United Kingdom sit in that? Well, it sits in the middle, because it's neither US nor the European Union. So the UK will have to tread very carefully about how it approaches it. But again, I think it will be more aligned to the US model than the EU model of regulation.
For sure, Sandip. I think one of the things that I got a great analogy this morning from the Right Honourable Stephen McPartland, and I do not intend to try and pass this analogy off as my own, but he said that one of the things he's witnessing, or we are witnessing right now with the introduction to AI, is the revolutionary advancements it's going to bring to industry, very, very similar to what happened with the combustion engine replacing the horse and cart many years ago. But the rapid growth and implementation of AI is going to surpass the growth that any industry has ever seen. How on earth, Sandip, can business owners, business users, business leaders support the implementation of AI with their workforce, who are generally, not au fait with cyber to any certain degree, never mind the introduction of AI? How on earth can organizations ensure that their staff gets the support that they need?
Well, that's absolutely crucial for 2025, because if it's going to be the year of now, organizations are going to be very careful about, before investing huge amounts of sums of money in AI, they will want to know first the AI is suitable for their organization, but also the organization can understand and deploy the AI. And so that's going to be crucial. I see that upskilling for these emerging technologies is going to be critical in 2025. And so, for example, we've got Accenture, which AI monitors market trends and recommends training programs for employees to gain skills. Amazon have got continuous AI-driven training in cloud computing machine. And I think that's really going to be the focus and should be the focus for organizations. How do we upskill our organization to grasp the real opportunities of AI, but also understand the challenges that they present?
Indeed. Well, I guess it's going to be no surprise, Sandip, when I ask you this next question. Give me a prediction as to what you see, what you believe, and we won't hold you to it, Sandip, so don't panic. What do you believe we can expect to see in relation to the introduction to AI in 2025? Where do you think it'll take us, Sandip?
Well, Yogi Berra, the American, said it's tough to make predictions, especially about the future. So, with my crystal ball, which is usually not right, where do I see AI? I think, contrary to the doom stories of AI being, taking over everyone's work, jobs and so forth, that won't happen. It might not in the near future, not 2025. And so what I see happening more so is the integration of AI across all industries. We've seen it in healthcare, we've seen it in finance, we're seeing it in education, we're seeing it in every sector, and we'll also see it in the public sector as well. I think that's where it'll come on. And we've seen it in so many other sectors. What is my real... I think we will see a better understanding of AI and more trust of what it can and cannot do.
Yes.
I think it will be more accepted as a new technology generally, rather than being something which is of science fiction.
I think there's no question that there has to be less talk and more action, Sandip, in relation to how we collaborate and how we communicate with our allies in relation to how we get the best from AI, as opposed to all sitting back and giving a view and an opinion. I think there needs to be more collaboration internationally, because AI is being used, sadly, a lot by the bad guys. It's being used very effectively. And is already making quite an impact on, the damage it's creating. So I think there needs to be more progression in how we work together with our allies. Would you say that's a fair view in relation to how we progress things much quicker by using AI for all the right reasons?
Absolutely. I'm a great believer that AI should not be treated like the nuclear technology at the end of the Second World War, where the Americans obviously had a monopoly on it and didn't want to share it with the Soviet Union, the Russians, which then became the Soviet Union. And there are some very clever people who said, if that had not occurred, if they'd shared it, we would not have had the arms race thereafter, and then the Cold War. And similarly so with AI. So there is this pushback with the sharing of GPU chips. So the Biden administration issued this executive order just the other day saying that only friendly countries can receive GPU chips, which is NVIDIA, which we all know, which is the market leader. I think that's a mistake, because at the end of the day, what will happen is that the unfriendly states, which is supposedly China, will develop their own equivalent of it. And then there'll be an AI equivalent of an arms race based upon mistrust, rather than what's the benefits to mankind of AI? How can it help us collectively,
Indeed.
rather than weaponizing it?
Well, Sandip, hopefully we don't go down that path again of an AI Cold War, but let's try and embrace the opportunities that AI is going to bring to us. Sandip, we could talk all day on these subjects. We knew it was going to be short, it was going to be sweet. We are going to be seeing you a lot this year on the road, supporting some of the great events that we're attending. For now, Sandip Patel, King's Counsellor, thank you so much for joining Let's Talk Cyber.
It's been a great pleasure. Thank you, Tommy.